Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea, where we take some of the biggest news stories regarding Chelsea and discuss them. And really there is no better place to start on this very hot and humid day in London than with Callum Hudson-Odoi. His new contract, which appears to be close to being signed, 100 grand a week, yes, 100 grand a week for the 18-year-old. Looks set to be finalised and announced by the club. This has been rumoured for many months, of course, amid speculation from Bayern Munich that's literally been back since January, where it looked like he would depart the club. But now it looks like he will be securing his future at Stamford Bridge, which, you know, whatever you think about the money and whatever you think about the time it's taken to get this contract and, you know, the interest and the speculation regarding Bayern, this is a big deal. I think, you know, considering the transfer ban and considering the fact that Chelsea can't sign players this summer, the next best thing is securing the futures of the players you have. You know, we've seen many big clubs, especially in the Premier League, not be able to do that. And you eventually get yourself in a tricky situation where you're either going to lose money on the players or player unrest, or, you know, securing futures of players is massive for stability at the club, which is what we need. And I think securing the futures of not only Hudson-Odoi, but also Mason Mount and Loftus-Cheek, three players who, especially Mount and Hudson-Odoi, that I think are going to be massive for the future of Chelsea, along with Loftus-Cheek as well. But those three deals are, for me, the best bit of business this summer, along with, of course, bringing in Frank Lampard as manager. But I think with Hudson-Odoi, we know what he's capable of, and it still is potential. You know, you look at how young he is, and especially just having an injury, he is going to take some time to get into the season. But especially once he broke in under Sarri, I think, you know, such a shame he got that injury, because I think he would have played right up to the Europa League final, and it would have been curious to see what he did there. But I think, you know, his unpredictability, his skill, his flair, he excites fans when he gets the ball at his feet. And that's what you want, you know, especially, you know, losing Eden Hazard. We need those type of players. And Hudson-Odoi hopefully can be a generational talent. You know, I'm not going to throw it out there and say he will be, because, you know, things can change very quickly in football, and, you know, there's been many players who look amazing at this age and never quite feel their potential. But my hope is that experts within the game, and also just Hudson-Odoi himself, is able to achieve that at Chelsea. But I have to say, big deal. Hopefully the club will announce it soon, and I think this is a really big deal at securing a player who I think can be massive for Chelsea going forward. Let me know your opinions on him in the comments below. The next story is regarding Jorginho. He's made some comments regarding Sarri and looking forward to the new season under his new manager Frank Lampard, basically stating that Sarri was my manager, not my friend, you know, and this is of course in response to, I'm sure, a lot of the criticism Jorginho faced last season, you know, all the slurs about him being Sarri's son, about Sarri's favourite, and all of that stuff that he had to deal with during the season. Now, I have to admit, I'm a big fan of Jorginho, or at least I was a big defender of Jorginho last season when it felt like he was being scapegoated a lot by fans. He gained a lot of criticism, and I think a lot of it was unfair. You know, you can check out some of my articles on the Chelsea Echo regarding that. And I actually think by the end of the season, he came through that rough patch and improved his game, and was one of our best performers by the end of the season, and I thought was outstanding in that Europa League final, as was most of the team. But I think, you know, he is so essential to our creative play, and you even see that under Frank Lampard. You know, now we're going to a 4-2-3-1. He's going to be alongside, hopefully, Kante in that role. I still think he's going to be doing what he was doing last season, maybe in a little different way, but I still think what he offers to the team in terms of possession, in terms of constructing and directing play, I think is essential to what Lampard wants to do. And I think he's shown that, and luckily people have been making maybe quick 180s regarding Jorginho, seeing what he can do even under Frank Lampard. And Frank Lampard's comments as well were as complimentary about Jorginho as well. So it's nice to see Jorginho is in the plans. I think he's essential, and I think he's going to be a big player for Chelsea, and my hope is more people will appreciate him this season, at least in my opinion, and I hope he goes on to have a great season. So let me know your opinions on Jorginho in the comments below. The final story today is regarding Davide, Zappacosta and Reece James. Simon Johnson from the Evening Standard, who I'm sure a lot of you know and follow on Twitter, quite close in terms of reporting news from Chelsea, is claiming that Chelsea are looking to loan out Zappacosta, probably to a Serie A team, and making way so that Reece James can be the main competition for Azpilicueta in that right back spot. And, you know, it's not the most surprising news, even though he has featured a bit in pre-season. Zappacosta, for me, I can't see being a long-term option regarding Chelsea going forward. You know, he came in as almost a bit of a panic buy. If you remember, under Conte in his second season, we needed some strength and depth, and I think we got him literally last day of the window there. So, and he's never really fulfilled. You know, he had that one great goal. I think it may have even been his first start against Karabag in the Champions League. Quite a freak goal, but has never really fulfilled what was asked of him, and you know, and I think he was slightly troubled by the fact we did move to a back four from, you know, when he came in we were a back three and we were prominently playing with wing backs, and then of course when you change manager there's always that risk that some players who found great success and found minutes on the pitch will be isolated and will drop out completely. So Zappacosta has suffered from that a bit, even though he has got some minutes under Frank. But for Reece James, you know, I think fullback positions are majorly important for Chelsea, especially in the modern game. And, you know, we've talked a lot about this in terms of Alonso, in terms of Emerson, and trying to get, you know, modern athletic sort of fullbacks who can really assist and can really, you know, be a match to the likes of, you know, Robertson and Alexander-Arnold at Liverpool, and, you know, Mendy you see at Manchester City. And really I think Reece James hopefully can be that for Chelsea when he gets fit. You know, still a young player, still growing, but he had an amazing season at Wigan and hopefully can fulfill that role. And, you know, even be in competition to an experienced veteran, a winner and a captain like Cesar Azpilicueta can only be good for Reece James to learn. And considering going from Wigan, where he was last season, and going right up to the first team squad is majorly important for him. And is another sign under Frank, as, you know, we've discussed with the contract situation, Chelsea looking to get these youth players into the first team squad and trying to get them minutes, which hopefully, you know, we're still in pre-season, so, you know, those players, as we've seen in previous pre-seasons, will get time. And then, but as soon as the serious stuff happens, as soon as we get into the season and points need to be gained, it's always is that sort of interesting thing of, will Frank risk, or will any manager risk those young players? But for me, it's not a risk. I think Reece James is a talented footballer, and I think really does offer what Chelsea lacked last season in terms of pace and in terms of skill, in terms of output and threat in terms of going forward, because we're going to need that to compete at the highest level in the Premier League. And I think Reece James long term can offer that. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Let me know your thoughts on everything I've discussed in the comments below. So we move on now to Reading on Sunday, which will be my next video where I'll be discussing that, unless anything major happens between now and then. But very exciting, we're getting closer and closer to the start of the Premier League season. Thank you guys so much for watching. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.